what a hard day it's been. If only I had some dessert. Why is dessert always take so long to make? I have an idea.
In this video, I will show you how I make 5 lazy desserts. I think the best way to sort the videos is to show the laziest, aka the easiest, and then move on to the next, less lazy, and so on. The easiest dessert, and also my favorite, is a parfait. This has just 3 main ingredients and comes together very quickly. Simply layer the berries, yogurt, and granola in a glass or a bowl. I never feel guilty about eating this dessert because it's all healthy ingredients. The granola that I'm using breaks off into giant clusters. If you're interested in making the granola that I'm using, the link will be in the description box.
This really is probably my favorite lazy vegan dessert. It's basically 3 ingredients: strawberries, yogurt, granola. I feel pretty good about eating it because it's strawberries, yogurt, and granola. And all you do is layer it and it's delicious.
On to lazy dessert number 2. This super easy to make dessert is an Oreo milkshake. There are only 3 main ingredients, and that is ice cream, Oreos, and a small amount of plant milk. I add my ice cream and a handful of Oreos to a blender and begin to blend. If the ice cream isn't blending well, then add a couple of tablespoons of milk and then blend again. You can make the milkshake as thick or thin as you like. You can add a couple or a lot of Oreos, and you can blend the milkshake well or lightly. I like to have Oreo chunks on my milkshake, so I'm only lightly blending. I like to top my milkshake with whipped cream and a cherry. This looks so amazing.
Wow, it is so good. It's literally Oreos and ice cream. It's so good.
Dessert number 3 requires a small amount of cooking in a microwave. This dessert is a mug cake or a microwave cake. I'm making this one chocolate because I love chocolate. The recipe for this dessert will be in the description box. You can mix all of the ingredients in your mug if you like. I butter the inside of the mug because otherwise the cake really sticks and it can make cleanup a mess. Simply put all of the ingredients in a bowl or your mug and mix them together. The chocolate chips are optional, but do give the dessert a more rich texture. Once everything is mixed, it goes into the microwave. Mine is 1000 watts, and this dessert took 1 minute and 10 seconds. You'll know the cake is done when the top is spongy and it is pulling away from the sides. think the cake is best eaten when it's warm, but for this video I allowed it to cool so that the powdered sugar wouldn't instantly melt. Toppings are absolutely not required on this cake, and I usually eat it without them, although a scoop of ice cream would work really well.
It's chocolatey, it's light and airy like I want it to be. It's really good, and when I want just a little bit of cake at the end of the day, this is literally what I do. You guys should give it a try.
Dessert number 4 is still very easy but can be cooked on the stove. This dessert is a silky chocolate pudding, and the main ingredient is silken tofu. There are 2 different methods you could use to make this recipe. The first is to throw all of the ingredients except the chocolate chips and cornstarch into a blender, blend well, and then spoon it into the cups and refrigerate for at least 30 minutes. The uncooked recipe does work well, however, I can slightly taste the tofu and it doesn't thicken as much as I like. So I prefer to make the cooked method, which allows the pudding to thicken more and somehow disguises the taste of the tofu. I start by blending the tofu so that it is creamy. I also added the vanilla and maple syrup because they fit in the cup, but it isn't necessary. All of the ingredients then go into a small saucepan and onto the stove. This should be cooked on medium heat. Once the mixture begins to heat, then it will mix together very easily. The mixture should be heated for several minutes until it becomes hot and the chocolate chips have melted. Make sure to mix frequently and don't let it burn. I then spoon it into little cups and refrigerate. Ideally, you'd want to refrigerate it until it is completely cool, but I have never been able to wait that long. I usually eat it after about 30 minutes in the fridge. When the pudding cools completely, the texture becomes similar to chocolate mousse, which is very decadent. But trust me, it's still really good after only 30 minutes. I like to top the pudding with some whipped cream when I have it, and some fruit or cacao nibs are also nice.
It's so creamy, so rich. I cannot taste the tofu at all. Chocolatey, so wonderful. Wow, I really love this dessert.
We are now on to dessert number 5. This dessert does not require any cooking, but it does require ball rolling, which I slightly despise, and that's why it's the least lazy dessert on the video. This dessert goes by many names, including energy balls or energy bites. The best thing about this dessert is that they're ready to eat as soon as you make them. All of the ingredients get thrown together, mixed well, rolled into balls, and then they are ready. For this recipe, my big flavor components are pistachios and dried cranberries. Once again, the recipe will be listed below in the description box. I was originally going to roll the balls into a mixture of pistachios and cranberries, but I felt too lazy, so I left it out. I had some leftover chocolate chips and decided to melt them to drizzle on top, which is completely optional. But I had one problem. I used a new type of chocolate chip that was labeled as plant-based. I usually melt chocolate chips in the microwave, but these chips did not melt well and never got to a point of being drizzly. The ingredients contain oats, and I think the oats prevented them from working the way that they really should. So the energy balls ended up with clumps of chocolate instead of a drizzle. Oh well.
So here's our little balls. The ones that I put chocolate on, they've already hardened. Oh, let me give this a little taste. It's really good. The thing about this dessert, I don't feel guilty eating it. It's oatmeal, nuts, dried cranberries, a little bit of chocolate, who cares? It's good. Really good. Hits the spot when you need something sweet. I love it. One of my favorite desserts is a mojito fruit salad, and if you guys are interested in learning about that, check out right here.